In the autumn of 1940, Europe stood at the edge of a wider firestorm. Hitler's armies had crushed Poland, humbled France, and stood menacingly over a battered Britain. Yet in Rome, Benito Mussolini, the self-styled new Caesar, grew restless. Fascist Italy, though allied to Nazi Germany, had little to show for itself. Mussolini, watching Hitler's meteoric rise, felt overshadowed, humiliated even. "I need a few thousand dead," he once remarked coldly, "so that I can sit at the peace conference." His words betrayed his desperation for Italy to be seen as an equal partner in the Axis alliance. But in October 1940, this desire would lead him to a reckless gamble, one that would reshape the course of the Mediterranean War. Italy, Mussolini believed, was destined to dominate the Mediterranean, the Mare Nostrum, or our sea, as the Romans once called it. He saw Greece, strategically positioned at the crossroads of Europe and the Aegean, as a jewel waiting to be plucked. With France defeated and Britain isolated, Mussolini thought the moment perfect. He told his generals that conquering Greece would be a lightning strike, a swift war to rival Hitler's blitzkrieg. Yet Italy was unprepared. Its army, though large on paper, was ill-equipped, poorly trained, and lacking modern weaponry. Still, Mussolini pushed forward. On October 28, 1940, he delivered an ultimatum to Athens: allow Italian troops to occupy strategic positions in Greece or face invasion. The Greek response was defiant. Prime Minister Ioannis Metaxas, a man of few words, gave a single reply: "Oxy, no." That one word would echo through history, celebrated each year in Greece as Oxy Day. Within hours, Italian divisions poured across the Albanian frontier into Greek territory. Mussolini expected a parade into Athens within weeks. Instead, his forces met fierce resistance. The Greek landscape was no ally to the Italians. Towering mountains, deep valleys, and treacherous winter weather favored the defenders. Villagers rallied to the flag, shepherds took up arms, and Greek soldiers, though outnumbered and under-equipped, fought with determination. The Italian advance stalled almost immediately. By November, the Greeks counterattacked, driving the Italians not just out of Greek lands, but back into Albania. It was the first Axis defeat of the war. The world took notice. Tiny Greece, against all odds, had pushed back Mussolini's empire. Winston Churchill, ever eager for a dramatic phrase, declared, "Hence we will not say that Greeks fight like heroes, but that heroes fight like Greeks." Yet while Mussolini reeled in the Balkans, his armies were also engaged in another theatre, the deserts of North Africa. There, in September 1940, the Italian 10th Army had advanced into British-controlled Egypt, hoping to seize the Suez Canal and cut Britain's imperial lifeline. At first, it seemed promising. Over 200,000 Italian troops pressed forward, but the advance soon bogged down in the harsh desert, hindered by lack of fuel, food, and modern tanks. Italian soldiers, dressed in heavy wool uniforms, suffered under the merciless sun. In December, Britain struck back. Operation Compass, a daring offensive launched by General Richard O'Connor, smashed into the Italian positions with speed and precision. Though the British had far fewer troops, only about 30,000 compared to Italy's hundreds of thousands, they used superior tactics, mobile units, and tanks to devastating effect. Within weeks, the Italian 10th Army collapsed. Over 130,000 Italians surrendered. A catastrophe Mussolini could scarcely comprehend. By early 1941, Mussolini's empire was in shambles. His invasion of Greece had stalled in the snow, and his armies in North Africa were in retreat. Worse still, his failures dragged Germany deeper into war. Hitler, infuriated by his allies' incompetence, diverted precious resources to bail him out. In the Balkans, German troops stormed into Greece and Yugoslavia in April 1941, delaying Hitler's grand plan to invade the Soviet Union. Some historians argue that this diversion cost Germany precious weeks' time that would later prove fatal when the Wehrmacht found itself bogged down in the Russian winter. In North Africa, Hitler dispatched the Afrika Korps under the command of Erwin Rommel, the Desert Fox, to salvage Italy's position. The immediate aftermath of Mussolini's mistakes was grim for Italy. Its prestige was shattered, its military exposed as ill-prepared, and its independence within the Axis alliance undermined. Mussolini, once the boastful Duce, became increasingly seen as Hitler's junior partner, a liability more than an asset. Italian soldiers fought bravely in many battles that followed, but their campaigns were now overshadowed by German command. The legacy of these events stretched far beyond 1940. Mussolini's reckless ambition had changed the course of the war. Greece's defiance inspired resistance movements across occupied Europe, showing that the Axis was not invincible. The British victories in North Africa boosted morale at a time when London stood alone against Hitler, and Hitler's intervention in the Balkans, sparked by Mussolini's blunders, set in motion delays that some argue altered the entire trajectory of the Eastern Front. Today, the story of Mussolini's miscalculations is remembered as a cautionary tale of hubris in war. The Duce had dreamed of empire, but in seeking quick glory, he dragged his nation into disaster. Greece celebrates Oxy Day as a symbol of courage and defiance. In North Africa, the sands still cover the ruins of Italian forts and trenches, silent witnesses to the folly of men who believed conquest would be easy. As we reflect on these events, we see more than military campaigns. We see a dictator's pride colliding with the harsh realities of geography, logistics, and the indomitable will of those who refused to bow. Mussolini's mistake reminds us that in war, arrogance can be as deadly an enemy as any opposing army. This episode has been crafted with great care, drawing from military archives, wartime accounts, and the voices of those who lived through these pivotal moments. If you value historical storytelling that honors the past with depth and accuracy, your support ensures that these stories continue to be told. History, after all, is not just about battles and leaders. It is about understanding the choices that shaped our world and the lessons they leave behind.